what I'm going to do first is I'm going to jump into the New Old Heads TikTok, because that's where we get a ton of engagement on every week.
His speech and his acceptance was not televised. And I think it's deeper than, it's twofold to me, if we want to go there. It's the hip-hop portion, but it's also knowing what Killer Mike might say.
Yeah.
So Maja here talking about Killer Mike. See, that's insane. Give Mike an hour on TV and he'd change a nation's heart. Man, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be awesome if that was actually like the truth? But the fact of the matter is the United States is very rich in defending capitalism and also defending racism. People don't want to hear anything that's going to change their potential life view. It's just kind of what it is. But, you know, I like Mike's message. Biden 2024, Harris, Killer Mike is trash. Let's go to this person's profile. No semblance of who this person is will be on here at all, I guarantee it. No content, no bio. Yeah, where you at? Because we got to fight. See, that is a great comment. That is a great comment. Because Killer Mike, number one, isn't trash. And number two, it's weird that a Democrat would say that, because literally Killer Mike is a corporate Democrat. He kind of balances the line a little bit. It's weird that somebody that's for Biden and Harris in 2024 would have this stance.
It's one of those bucket list things for an artist, I think. Yeah. Even if you don't care about a Grammy, being nominated for a Grammy and actually winning that Grammy, it doesn't solidify you as an artist. It solidifies you as an artist to the outsiders looking in.
And to that.
Yeah, so I have no idea what bands and artists I listen to have an award. I just listen to the music. Why do we care what award if you like the music? That is facts. These award shows don't really matter. You know what I mean? These award shows are just award shows. You know what I mean? So, I mean, when you see Beyonce has 33 Grammys, which is more than Whitney, Diana Ross, Celine, and Mariah combined, it tells you it's not about talent or quality. I mean, there's truth there, but we also have to factor in who Beyonce went up against. You know, like versus who Whitney, Diana Ross, and Celine Dion and Mariah Carey, all like who they went up against in those times. Beyonce, I probably should honestly have more Grammys. So that's, you know, I get what they're saying, but
we got to call these people out if they're going to have these platforms.
Yeah.
And speak on hip hop.
Yeah.
But then they don't know the things. They don't know who Killer Mike is. That's a problem. And they need to call, you know, my son, shout out to him. He said, hey, you know, we calling the youth in. We not calling them out. I was like, no, we got to call them out.
Yeah, I agree with Jay on this. I think there's a way that you can do it delicately. And especially from an angle when like the youth is legitimately trying to learn, but when they are talking reckless and you're talking from a point of like influence, no, you got to be called out. It doesn't matter who you are. But let's see here. So exactly, thinking somebody else should have one is fine, but when you have a platform called Hip Hop All Day and you say who is Killer Mike, I think I've seen this comment before, but I agree with that. Yes. If you're a part of hip hop, you got to know who certain people are. If you're going to speak on that level of influence and power. Those that are saying who is Killer Mike tells me that they haven't listened to this album yet and feel like he's not deserving. Okay. Not everybody's going to like his music. People want to be a part of the conversation but didn't do their homework. Mike has always been consistent. This isn't even his best project. That's arguable. I would say this is his best project. But rap music is also really good. Old man hating. It's not okay to not know who Killer Mike is, but it's fine to call these young men bozos. Yes, it is. It is for who he's specifically speaking on. And there is a responsibility that you have as a man or just as a human being to read the room. That's super important. You know, he's not hating. Jay Moore is responding to hate. There is a difference there. So now people can't have their own opinion. You can have your opinion. You can, but don't think your opinion matters, because it doesn't. You seem to be confused. Nobody said you had to like his music, but anyone with a platform centered around rap should know who he is. That's facts, you know. But that's where you're wrong. His content isn't centered around rap. Who is he talking about? Oh, I think he's talking about 𝐀𝐄𝐀𝐃. If it's not centered around rap, then you also have to understand that if you're somebody like 𝐀𝐄𝐀𝐃 or Aiden Ross, and these guys don't care. They're just young and dumb. It's just what it is. But Kai isn't the only person. Kai isn't the only person that's doing this. That came out and just like, oh my God. But you also have to understand your influence. You have to, with great power comes great responsibility. And we give these kids a lot of responsibility that don't deserve it. Realistically, on a grand scheme of things, sure, people like him, and that's great. There's no hate involved there. But like, when we look at the merit of everything, just simply being an influencer, we put a lot of importance on people that just aren't very learned. And I think that's a problem in general in culture of America, and I think just not even beyond America. We just put a lot of importance on people that aren't learned into things and aren't well-rounded. And 𝐀𝐄𝐁𝐎f is not well-rounded. Aiden Ross is not well-rounded. They're just dudes that got big. But if you're going to speak on it, from that angle, you have to understand that there are repercussions for it. Killer Mike is your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. Killer Mike winning a Grammy is the Hail Mary we needed to save the rap game. I understand the sentiment, but if you don't know who Killer Mike is and you don't agree with this, go look him up. Like, you can be a Travis fan and you don't have to run Killer Mike's name negatively through your mouth just because you don't know who he is.
Facts.
When it really speaks, hey, those are big facts. You can be like, man, I can't believe it. Who is this person? There's just so much responsibility that comes with having a platform. And I don't think people, younger people especially, because I remember when I was young, I wasn't thinking about any of this stuff. You just don't realize it. And I think, these people have to realize it sooner than later. Travis Scott fans everywhere are claiming that he's now been robbed twice.
That Travis Scott album was not
What?
not it.
Oh. His fan base is saying that?
Astroworld was hard.
It was.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, but even that year, Nipsey's album came out that year. Nipsey's the one that got snubbed that year.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Here, hip-hop peoples. So, yeah, I've already seen this because I've already responded and said thanks for being a fan. But of course, this is the troll old head podcast. It's not like a diss to call somebody an old head. I know people think that it is, but like if you're like young and stupid, like that's not a flex. You know what I mean? So, thanks that homie for being a fan. This era rap fans just can't distinguish favorite from best. Travis is fun and he deserves fandom, but best, come on. I agree with this overall sentiment here, because in general, there's a reason why the Grammys board exists. Now, I'm not saying the Grammys got it right, because they rarely do. And there's lots of politics involved. But I know that they try. And it's an impossible task. But there is a big group of fans that can't just, like, you can be a fan of Travis, but, people are like, I've never heard of Killer Mike, so he's obviously he's not the best. If I've never heard of him, nobody cares who you are, man. So if they are your favorite, they're the best to you, which makes that an opinion, right? There is so objectively, I think maybe he means there isn't an objectively best in any subject. There is so objectively best in any subject. I can't believe I'm explaining this. Yes, that is true. But at the same time, what he says, there are objective criteria that make a great rapper, a great drummer, and a great writer. Now, that is the reason why I kind of agree with both of them here. But what I am saying, but I do more agree with poetic justice in this one, because when people that are learned in a particular topic speak about who is good, and I'm just speaking from my own perspective and us on the show, people may or may not know. Obviously, I've ran a hip hop media thing for over 15 years and have a lot of experience just listening and being a fan and sharing and curating, right? But I've been a hip hop music producer for over 20 years, and I've produced records and I've done albums. I also teach music production. I've mentored a lot of people. But I've also done a lot of hip hop stuff, and I've done a lot of hip hop shows. Like, I've opened up for Slick Rick. I've opened up for Rakim. I've opened up for Ninth Wonder. I've played festivals. I've headlined festivals with the crew that I was a part of. And so when I speak about these things, I'm not speaking about this just from a fandom standpoint. I'm speaking about them from a standpoint of understanding all the things that go into it, all the things that I just mentioned, that make somebody objectively good. Sure, it's still my opinion at the end of the day, but there are certain things that we can come in here and specifically lean on and be like, well, Killer Mike is always in the pocket. He is always in the pocket. Killer Mike has great rap lyrics. He does. Killer Mike picks really good beats. He does. Killer Mike is an amazing performer. Have you guys seen Run the Jewels? They were festival killers for nearly a decade. You know what I mean? Like, and he's got the respect. You know, he's out here doing what he think is best for his community. When you factor all of these things in together, there's a difference from somebody like a Cardi verse where you go and listen to Cardi and it sounds like it was phoned in, or it sounds like he wasn't really trying. It sounds like he just freestyled it. Like, there are certain things that you can objectively, you know, pinpoint two things against each other. Now, I said Cardi, but Travis Scott is the one that people are typically talking about here. But the one thing that I think a lot of people like to factor in is the popularity. And popularity is irrelevant because popularity is just popularity. That is pop. Then if we're talking popularity, then if this is a pop music category, then yeah, Travis can win. But this isn't a pop music category. This is a hip hop category. Even within hip hop, you can be popular, but just because a whole bunch of white dudes who live in the suburbs like your music and like to go and spend $500-$600 and thousands of dollars at a Kanye West festival or at a Travis Scott festival doesn't necessarily mean that they're great. And I don't want to take away from the fact that Travis is really good for what he does. I'm not a personal fan of his, but I can respect what he does. I've mentored kids that love Travis Scott, you know what I mean? And I can appreciate what he does. But that's kind of where it stops when it comes down to judging the musicality of everything, you know what I mean? And everything that goes into it. So when I listen to Travis's Utopia and I listen to Killer Mike's Michael, I can pick apart this from a more learned point of view. Now, granted, I don't really care about my opinion, but my musical opinion still does matter to some degree. So to answer that, to go fully deeper into that, there literally is objective criteria that you can go into. Travis fans have lost the plot, not as bad as Kanye stans, at least. Yeah, they kind of have lost the plot, and that goes to, you know, like, the Grammys actually got it right. But then again, you know,
I couldn't think of anybody that deserved it more than him this year.
Agreed.
And it's funny because, I mean, we've been talking about it since.
So, I mean, this is just somebody that's just trolling. Half the population can't name 5 Killer Mike songs. Well, that's true. But as you can see my reply here, hip hop can. Hip hop can determine and can name those things. Don't care, Metro, Travis, Drake, better. Not even close. I'm just trolling him. Coi Leray has more listeners than Killer Mike, and numbers don't lie. So your comebacks are invalid. Have a great day. So this person says, so Macklemore, this is the highest deserved rap album of the year over Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City, because the highest had better numbers. I mean, he really just kind of shut him up, right? Like, that's a legit comment right there. Relevant popularity doesn't matter, and it doesn't. And that's super important to this aspect. It's like, popularity doesn't matter to the merit of how good something is. A lot of people like Pop-Tarts. They're the second worst junk food that you can eat for you. You know what I mean? Like, King Sissy 3 way better. To each their own. People, when the Grammy goes to the popular one, mad. People, when the Grammys pick is just a good piece of music, mad. And that's facts. That is true. I mean, the Grammys cannot get it right. They will never be able to, like, legitimately get it right, because music is, at the end of the day, subjective, which is why I always say that award shows are irrelevant. But I digress. It's hard to go against someone like Travis with all of his connections. Again, that's irrelevant. But in the end, he had a better and more influential album than Mike. That is arguable, and both are still great in their own. That is true. He's like, nah, I listened to both. Killer Mike had way more songs and better lyrics, but Travis's beats are better. And that's not even true. And it's also subjective and more entertaining to listen to. Again, super subjective and not even true. But Killer Mike's took me a bit to listen to compared to Travis. Now, what I would most likely say is this person, without even looking at who this is, they are probably mid-20s or younger. Because it's always somebody that has a very reduced attention span that has that type of take. Travis Scott does not make music for people that have attention spans. And it's, you know, it's just what it is. You don't have to have great lyrics. You just have to have a vibe. There's nothing wrong with having a vibe, but at the same time, it can't just be a vibe when we're talking about hip hop, because hip hop is a culture that is comprised of multiple elements here. And if you lack the MCing aspect of it, which is very closely tied into the at least modern day, it's tied into the lyrical aspect of everything as well, because that is what an MC does. That's what it is. So I disagree with this person.
It is cause for celebration when literally the guy with the best production, which I thought, like I said, even with you just...
So this is just Jay Moore talking about liking this. And then, of course, there's this guy who's just trolling, licking the tip. I mean, bruh, like, it's okay to give praise to people. You can mature. It's okay. After the first listen, the second listen, it's actually a phenomenal album. Yes, it is. On God, and people out here talking like they don't know who Killer Mike is. True, nice, preach. Congrats to Mike, but I feel King's Disease 3. Again, that's subjective, but that's a respectable comment. I can appreciate that.
First of all, let's just say this. Him even trying to just, gain some clout right now off of a diss record, and you're going at Benzino and his daughter. First of all, that's corny to go after Coi Leray. What has she done to you?
On Eminem's part, that's corny.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay, we just, because, even when you're engaging in war, and anything gangsterism, the kids are off limits. So
she's grown though.
I know
she grown,
but still, the only reason you're engaging with her at all is because she's Benzino's daughter. Because
he went on further. I only partially agree with Jay on this one, but at the same time, it's what it is. So let's see. Nothing is off limits. That's where I kind of side on this type of thing. He said, you said many wrong things here. Shouts to Raw. He's a regular commenter. B. Benzino mentioned him many times lately, and Coi said, I wouldn't do a song with him, and it wasn't a diss. I kind of agree. That really wasn't a diss, but it was him mentioning her, and because Eminem is such a big artist, him simply mentioning her in not a positive light is going to be perceived as a diss. It was like a 5-word joke line at the end of a song. True. Also, M's been #1 most streamed rapper on YouTube last 5 years. #2 on Spotify. Don't think he needs clout from Benzino's daughter. Y'all gotta do your research about the things you talk about when you're factually wrong about half of the stuff you say. So this is a common thing that people like to discredit us because they don't know who we are. Being the #1 most streamed rapper on YouTube the last 5 years is irrelevant to this conversation. #2 on Spotify is irrelevant to this conversation. Don't think he needs clout from Benzino's daughter. Eminem is the top streamed rapper because he's white. And a lot of his fans are white. They are not hip hop fans. You can be the #1 streamed rapper and still want to gain clout from a different type of audience. Coi Leray's audience is a completely different type of audience than what Eminem's is. It's just the facts. Those are the factual things. So you popping off on here saying, don't think he needs clout from Benzino's daughter. Y'all got to do your research about the things you talk about when you're factually wrong about half of the stuff. Well, actually, all right, Ben Shapiro. Like, this is a person who, again, is a coward that needs to take his own advice or her own advice. Oh, he's got more. It wasn't a diss. Coi previously said he would have to get permission from Benzino if she ever did an M feature. So M was saying, after I dissed your father again, he has never given you permission to do a song with me. It wasn't a diss at Coi Leray. Maybe it wasn't. But again, this is a stan right here. This is an Eminem stan. Because only Eminem stans would know this much information. No, Benzino is corny for the diss. Like, bro, how long have you been trying to stay relevant? I don't disagree with that either. I think Benzino is also very corny constantly. But multiple things can be true at the same time. Sounds like dudes reaching for a reason to dislike Eminem. No, we dislike Eminem from a musician standpoint, and we've been very public about that, especially in the last, decade or so. Now, granted, if you like Eminem, or this is not a shot at Eminem, it's just like it's not our taste, right? But we've also been on here saying that we don't, we give a lot of respect to Eminem because he's a hip hop dude and he rocks for hip hop and he's done a lot for hip hop, so. No, this is just a stand. This is a stand right here. Bruh, what are you saying? It's easy. Again, another stand. These are stands. These are stands. He didn't even go after her. He just said a collab with her is probably out of the question because of all the Benzino beef. Yes. Okay. He didn't diss her, morons. Eminem needs clout from her? Yeah, Tex-Mex. Yeah. All he said is he wouldn't do a feature with her. How is this a diss? All right, cool.
People like me who wouldn't even click on it.
Right.
But the people who like Ben Shapiro and think, yes, that his worldview is something that I need to embrace because I feel marginalized,
right?
In this society that is becoming, even with all its flaws, is becoming more fair,
right?
And I don't know where my place is in a society.
I mean, I kind of agree with Jay, but I'm very anti-capitalist. It's just who I am. If you don't like it, I don't give a it is becoming more fair to marginalized people, but the world is not becoming more fair in general. And I think that's the intersection to where a lot of poor and not super well off or haven't reached what they want to reach yet white people run into, is because, you know, they're like, well, why give these people more? And realistically, we should be more upset with what capitalism is doing, and we should be more upset with you know, the top 1% not being taxed appropriately and fixing the tax loopholes, and you know, all those related things, and corporations and everything that they're doing to us as humans and the planet. But I digress. So this is the Ben Shapiro rap with Tom MacDonald, which, whew, yeah, let's jump into the comments here. So another group of clowns crying about how unfair life is. It's so played out. And this is me in the comments. But who is crying? Because nobody's really crying. Just stating a fact is not crying. You know, nobody's crying about stuff. You know, the guy in the video, he's saying people who like Ben is crying because they don't like black people having rights, which shows his stupidity. That's not exactly what he says, but I don't really expect, you know, people to be. Now we know who these type of people are. Who is crying? Do you need a picture? Usually crybabies don't hear other crybabies, so I get it. And I run and report me. Shut up, nerd. Do you understand yet? You sheep are all the same. So sad. Please have some self-awareness. Please. That's me saying it in his voice. Oh, I'm aware. Why I made the comment. You're a little slow, huh? You're... Luckily, the younger generation grew up seeing each other as equals. But most of these older people of color just want to be victims, and that's sad. Just grow up. Look, man, it's not playing the victim when you're literally the victim. And at the end of the day, you can tell the truth about things, and just because somebody's telling the truth about things and wants things to change doesn't mean that you're playing the victim. Playing the victim means that you just cower and you don't do anything at all. Like, you know, like, oh my God, like, we know what playing the victim is, and this is just a conservative trope, and it's super goofy. But like, nobody is playing the victim. People like to address things that are happening and then keep it moving and go forward. This is not crying. This is addressing things that are happening. This is replying. This is Jay Morris saying that he's addressing all the Ben Shapiro and Tom MacDonald stands and Tom MacDonald's entire kind of message. Not entire, but a lot of his message. And the problem that I have with these types of people is that if they were smart enough, they could potentially do two things at the same time. You can say, man, it's really not great for anybody in this country right now. It's really not good for white people in certain instances, depending on the class that they are in, right? But you can also say, man, it really still isn't super great for black people over here, and they have a different set of things that they have to hurdle. You can do both things, but you don't. But when you just focus on the things that affect you as a white person, that makes you align with racist people. And that lack of self-awareness is super problematic. So I just say do better. You can do better. There's time to do better. I hope you watched this Virgil Spence 777 and Will Rod 94. LOL. This guy thinks society is becoming more fair. Democrats are mentally ill. I explained it enough previously, right? That it's becoming more fair for marginalized people, but it's not being. We talk about capitalism on the show a lot, so keep up, Mackenzie.
This is just somebody trying to get a rise out of people. It's kind of like the same thing when I said the whole thing about Lil Nas X. Mm-hmm. And I said, don't let this guy get a rise out of you, because this is just what he's doing. When I was talking about people of faith.
Right.
You know, and so as people who are hip hop fans, we need to just dismiss this.
It's facts. The Tom MacDonald thing with Ben Shapiro was just trolling. I mean, he said that he was trolling, you know, and us as a hip hop platform, we covered it because it was the big thing to talk about, but we dismissed it as we should. We just dismissed it because we should dismiss it. You know what I mean? So the best rap I heard in a decade. Again, this is probably somebody that doesn't listen to rap. Cluck, cluck, cluck. I'll let you figure out what that means. LOL, he even expected this. Yes, I know he did. We know. It was Tom MacDonald and Ben Shapiro's point. To troll hip-hop. hip-hop. To troll a black culture, essentially. Ben Shapiro should be ignored whether he's rapping or not. Guy's an incel. That's very true. Mocked, don't break your arm with that reach. I think this is in reference to us saying that he mocked hip-hop. And if you... I mean, he did. That's literally his purpose. He said he trolled. Do you understand what trolling is? What an idiotic perspective. Again, just a right-wing person. My money, like Lizzo, my pockets are fat. Cool. It's a double entendre right there. But did they say anything that was incorrect, or are you dismissive because it's easier than changing the horrible culture? Robert McNamara says, what horrible culture are you referring to, dog whistler? American Mutt goes, how about the thug culture? The one that promotes destruction of communities and businesses and thinks WAP is acceptable for kids. Robert says, that's some of the most ignorant words I've ever read, and you are not worth the response. Your problem is that you've just lived too long. The new old head's response, you want to say it, just say it already. And then this person chimes in and says, I agree. Changing America's horrible culture shouldn't be dismissed. I believe that's a troll. So what to say about all this? American Mutt is just a racist. And a lot of times I don't like, and so are the 4 people that like that comment. And a lot of times, in general, I don't really expect to change anybody's mind that's just a racist. But a lot of people sometimes don't understand. A lot of white people. And I know this because I grew up and I understand what it's like to, I wouldn't say be a racist, but I would say hold certain prejudices based upon my upbringing. And I'm not even saying upbringing from a level of, like I was taught these things. I would say society taught me these things, not family necessarily. I've talked about my unlearning a lot on the podcast, but this is just racist. If you don't know how saying, how about thug culture? If you don't know the racist dog whistles implied in calling something thug culture, then you need to educate yourself. Or the one that promotes destruction of communities and businesses. That, again, is another racist dog whistle that is in reference to, I'm guessing, Black Lives Matter protests, and thinks WAP is acceptable for kids to listen to. Nobody thinks that WAP is acceptable for kids to listen to. You're just being bad faith. All 3 of those things are honestly highly disrespectful and racist to even suggest, but they are conservative. Ben Shapiro likes, and Tom MacDonald promoting talking points. And that's the problem, and that's why we on the show dismiss Tom MacDonald and dismiss Ben Shapiro, because they're trolling hip-hop culture. Number one, nobody thinks WAP is acceptable for kids. Nobody thinks that. That's just stupid. That's just dumb. The one about the promotes destruction of communities and businesses. Look, if you've got a problem with people protesting, you got a problem with the Constitution, you got a problem with what makes America America. If you don't want destruction of communities and businesses, which is what I'm guessing you're referring to from protests, then maybe listen to the protesters. I don't know. If this isn't another reference to thug culture, whatever thug culture is trying to imply, what are you implying with thug culture? What are you implying there? What are thugs? Are thugs people in the internet? Is this like The Wire? Is this like The Wire? So you're implying that all those thugs in The Wire were doing the things that they were doing. I wonder why they were doing that. I wonder if their material conditions were different, if they would still do that just for the sake of it. I wonder if that's the case. Yeah. It's like, okay, cool. Born into an impoverished area, and then rappers get on here and talk about being born into such an impoverished area and the lifestyle that is around them as rappers in these communities. It's not promotion. It's documentation. These are documentaries. And to suggest that they need to change, but the United States doesn't need to do better in changing the material conditions of its own citizens is a racist dog whistle. And it supports capitalism. And it's bootlicking. It's like corporate jerking, man. So do better. Do better. Ben Shapiro is a multimillionaire. He's co-owner of the Daily Wire. He doesn't need money to rap or anything like that. So he's doing this just to kind of mock hip-hop is what it is. Yep. And I stand by what I said. He said, bro, the lyrics of most rap is not positive towards anything. Why would he want to prop that up? I don't understand exactly what that comment is referencing towards. My dad always says it's because there's no melody. Oh, it's also because I think I referenced about how Ben Shapiro said that rap isn't music, and then he's rapping. Ben Shapiro's he is. Glad some people see through the BS. That song is just an anthem for the oppressed white man. That's just facts. He's a douchebag. All y'all rap about is assault, drugs, and degrading women. Nothing positive. I'm with Ben Shapiro. Who is y'all? I mean, sure, I rapped in the past. And sure, I would pick up, if I felt like rapping now, I'd rap now. But who is y'all? Nobody on this panel raps. And to be honest, this is a perfect example right here. Because this is why we dismissed Tom MacDonald. This is why we dismissed Ben Shapiro. This is why. Because he's mocking hip-hop. So much more than this. Is this a part of it? Sure. To some degree, yes. But to say it's nothing positive? I don't know, man. I think hip-hop at its entire definition is the complete opposite of that. Hip-hop is positive. Certain rap music isn't. Tom MacDonald's rap music isn't. But he's also not hip-hop. Opinions are funny. So why does he do the same to country? Doesn't he do the same to country? Man, everything you listed off is country music as well. Facts. Nah, y'all reaching. Why does it upset you that he did? Is you that weak? What is his goal by going out of his way to talk about something he isn't involved with? It's race baiting and you fall in line. Good for you. That's facts. It's his choice and you fell for it. It's made for sensitive people such as yourself. You're so triggered by a little white man. You agreed with him, so you fell for it as well. He mind-gamed both of us to argue for no reason. Because all you want to do is troll, hence the race baiting. You'll get there eventually, buddy. I'm white, I knew what he was doing, you didn't, so you're triggered. Man, people just love to tell on themselves. But this is also why people he's got his whole name in here. Positive vibes. Positive vibes now. Positive vibes now, but then goes to the comments and just spews racism. Opinions are funny. Glad some people see through the BS. As opposed to what? The typical trash lyrics that are pushed? Now that's actually a decent, look, a lot of trash hip-hop music is pushed. A lot of trash hip-hop is pushed. That's facts. But that's not the issue. I don't really like any of the music out now, so whatever. Just saying this song is just a gimmick and the usual suspects playing a victim. That's true. So person of colors, that's the usual suspects. All right, they took her gerbs. A gimmick that pushes a positive message versus the reality of terrible music. Now, Blockade, this person right here, he's just not smart enough to understand dog whistles. It's just what it is. Keep that victim mentality. That's one of them conservative talking points right now. Victim mentality. You have a victim mentality. Look, bruh, you have a victim mentality. Keep playing the victim. Telling stuff how it is not playing the victim. It's telling stuff how it is. He doesn't talk shit about country music for doing the same thing. Country music is all about trucks and girls. No positive message. That's kind of a troll. But he listens to classical music. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm white and I've never been oppressed. I've never been stopped. I can do anything. Being white is amazing. This person he just shut up. I love being white as well. Now this person's, And the problem with saying stuff like that is that the white power people come out when you say stuff like that. So shouts to the comments. I don't think I really want to do anymore. Said you don't know who Ben Shapiro is. He's got a song called Facts with Tom MacDonald.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the first time Ben Shapiro has ever rapped.
Yep.
It sounds like it's... So this is just me talking about the fact that he's got a song and it's not very good, but whatever. And he's like, LOL, facts. Why y'all mad? Y'all can't tag Ben Shapiro? Why? Oh, tag him, bruh. Who cares? Tag him. Why does he sound hurt? Again, why would I be hurt? This is me talking. Why am I hurt? I'm just bored by the conversation. I'm bored by it, and I'm bored by racists. It was a good song. Y'all just haters. Okay, he's no rapper. The lyrics are what's being pushed. Ben sucks. Yeah, why are these losers who can't read or hold down a job care? Because we have a podcast where we talk about hip-hop culture. That's the point of what we do. That's all I got for you. Maybe this is a cool series. Maybe this series absolutely sucks. I don't know. But here I am commenting about comments in the comments section. Please don't get reckless in the comments section unless you want to. Have a great day.